Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of Sweet Home, a Korean horror television series from 2020. It's 10 episodes long, with each episode being approximately 50 minutes in length each. Following the death of his family in an accident, a loner moves to a new apartment. His quiet life is soon disrupted by strange incidents that start occurring in his new building. As people literally turn into killer monsters, he and his fellow residents try to survive. Now, Sweet Home begins with a pretty intriguing set of images. You have a young man walking, I think in the snow, while humanoid monsters are crawling around at his feet, and military forces are kind of closing in. And then we are immediately in flashback mode with our young protagonist who moves into this new apartment complex by himself. Some of the other residents, they seem rather odd and creepy. I was getting similar vibes to Strangers from Hell, but in this case, the monsters are the primary threat. I was surprised at just how crazy episode 1 gets. Things escalate rather quickly in this show, which I appreciate. And that's one of the most purely entertaining aspects of Sweet Home. Lots of horrific imagery, mostly involving these humanoid monsters. Sometimes they feel like something you'd see in like Silent Hill or a Resident Evil video game, which is definitely a good thing. Other times they're more quirky, odd, or even a little bit outlandish. There's definitely a nice variety of monsters here, so I won't spoil them for you. I was also reminded of the Demons films from Italy, those films from the 1980s that were directed by Lamberto Bava. I say this because we have some characters who are trapped in an apartment complex. The first Demons film was set in a movie theater. The second one was set in an apartment. So this one definitely kind of reminded me a little bit of Demons 2. And in this case, they are under siege by monsters who were formerly human, which is similar to the Demons films because they're demons who were formerly human. And that's another compliment to this show that I was getting some of those vibes. The actual monster attacks are surprisingly good and somewhat unpredictable. You're not really sure what kind of horrific thing you're going to see next. Again, I will avoid specifics, but some of the highlights include the air duct scene, the van driving attack, the fire truck sequence, and the landscaper scene. And just to be as vague as I possibly can. But those, there are definitely some really memorable moments in this show, and that's a good thing. Makeup effects are nice here. There is some CGI, but it's actually of a pretty good quality, despite the fact that you can tell it's CGI. But compared to some other Korean productions, the CG effects in Sweet Home are definitely better than most that I have seen. They're not premium, but they're good. They're good enough that I could suspend my disbelief and enjoy the show. So that's good. This show also does a good job of developing its characters, in some cases making them stronger as the show progresses. They are not all good people either, but the ones that are supposed to be likable are actually likable. Near the later episodes, there's one or two particular death scenes that are legitimately dramatic and emotionally affecting. So that's another good thing. The acting is impressive from just about everyone in the show. The lead actor, Kang Song, is very new to the industry. He's only been around a few years, but he's very solid here. Very convincing in the lead role. So I'm very happy with him in this show. Anytime you get a new person in there, you're not sure how it's going to work out, but I like this guy. He's good. There are a few recognizable faces in supporting roles as well. Jinwook Lee is impressive in this. You may recognize him if you saw Time Renegades from a few years ago. His character is initially set up to be like an unlikable person, but he's able to infuse a good dose of charisma to his character. He's actually one of my favorite characters in the show. And I had no idea that Seung Lee was in this. So that was a very nice surprise. I've been a fan of hers for over a decade now, and adding this actress to anything is an immediate upgrade. So she's one of the more badass characters in this, and if you know about her in real life and some of the roles she's been playing recently, that's no surprise. And she's very charismatic and fun to watch. Also, her muscle tone in this show is insane. I mean, that woman must be hitting the gym in real life like every single day, because she was like ripped. Very impressive. But yeah, it was great to see her in this. Kap-soo Kim is in this as well. He was the father in A Tale of Two Sisters. This is one of his more charming and upbeat roles. Usually when I see him in stuff, he's a little bit more of like the serious character. But in this one, he's able to like, he's given the opportunity to cut loose a little bit and be fun, you know, and definitely entertaining to see him in this. And then another actress who caught my eye is Gyu-young Park. And she's kind of newer to the scene as well. I don't even think I've seen her in anything, to be honest. But she was very impressive in Sweet Home. I really like her naturalistic acting style. So, like I said, most everyone in this show is good. With one little exception. The little boy. They got 2 kids in this. The girl, who's really good. I like her. The little boy, really annoying character. All he does is whine all of the time. And his screen time is limited to a degree. But every time he opens his mouth, he's just constantly whining about something, which, they should have just cut that out after, the first few episodes. But he continued to whine a bit, and anytime he opens his mouth, it's not a good time. But again, he's got a relatively small role. Camerawork is stylish, with a bunch of angle shifts, rotating, tracking shots, and other stuff. The presentation of this is quite fun visually. Now, the specifics regarding the causes of these monster transformations are pretty loose and maybe even a little bit inconsistent at first. I do think it's explained enough to kind of make sense, but there are a lot of loose ends at the end of this first season, and presumably there's going to be a season 2. Like the end of the season, there's even some like quick shots you might need to watch again that could be pretty big plot twists depending on how you interpret them. Some of these loose ends will need to be rectified and explained in Season 2, but I am confident that they will be adequately explained, because I think the show has a good quality to it, so I'm pretty confident they'll shore those up. Even without those explanations, though, the season is still very satisfying from an entertainment value perspective. In terms of some other possible criticisms, I do think maybe it gets a little bit too melodramatic in spots. They kind of milk the melodrama maybe a little bit too much. It's not egregious, but I think they could have cut a few of those scenes down just a little bit. And the pacing is quite good overall, actually. The horrific scenes are nicely spaced out. You get something in every episode to really to chew on from a genre perspective. But still, I felt like the pacing maybe a little bit slow at certain times. Not a big problem, but it's kind of there. But I definitely recommend Sweet Home. I did enjoy it. It's an entertaining show. It delivers on its horror content. So if you're a fan of horror stuff, you should enjoy this. It's currently available on Netflix in the United States, and I do look forward to them continuing the story with a Season 2. And as always, I will see you next time.